Well, good afternoon and happy Thursday, April 4th, 2025. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've come back, or if you're with us for the first time, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday episode of the 10 Commandments of Leadership. The 10 Commandments of Leadership. With this program, we hope to always take a deep dive into issues of leadership and leadership concerns. I am your host. I am Tim Alston. I am a leadership strategist. I am a certified life coach, and I'm also honored and blessed to be a four-time Amazon best-selling author. Um, with both our Monday, the Tim Alston Show podcast, as well as this Thursday, 10 Commandments of Leadership, we have two main objectives. And those objectives are number one, to educate, equip, and to empower emerging leaders with God thought leadership. And our second objective is we always want to present current events and newsmakers in the light of best practices from the Bible. Is there a word from the Bible as we look at current events? The answer is yes, and I'm honored to be able to share those with you. With our 10 Commandments of Leadership show, what we want to do is today is do our fourth step in the 11-step series that we've been doing. As you may recall, we've been walking through the 11 steps of a Silver Path acronym. And that acronym we've been breaking down every week, 1 week at a time. On our first week, that first acronym was A, awareness, being aware of what it means to be a leader from the middle, what it means to be, and I introduced the term to many of you, a silver metal leader. A, then the S of Silver Path. The S is to step back and allow time and circumstance to elevate you. Step back and let time and circumstance elevate you. Last week, the letter was I of the Silver Path, and the I was for emerging leaders, it's very, very key to identify opportunities where other people only see problems. Identify opportunities where others only see problems. And today, our letter is L, and the L stands for lean not to your own understanding. It is a principle that is deeply rooted in the Bible text found in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. L, lean not to your own understanding. This popular text encourages us to develop a trust beyond our own individual insights. Now, let's talk about the power of teamwork and active listening. Active listening. Our theme for today, our title for today is leading by listening and not leaning. Leading by listening, not leaning. As emerging leaders, and especially those of us who are solo entrepreneurs or choosing to work by ourselves, it's very, very tempting to want to adopt that Lone Ranger or that Wonder Woman persona or approach as we are attempting to rely solely on our own understanding. It may be because of our subject matter expertise that we've developed over the years, or maybe because of budget, finance, or the lack of it. We try to go out on our own. However, back to that book of Proverbs again in the Bible, Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no counsel, the people fail. Where there is no counsel, the people fail. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. This underscores the importance of seeking diverse perspectives and engaging in active listening. Yes, active listening. I've got some bad news for you. One of the biggest challenges that we face in terms of active listening is that unfortunately, neither you nor I were ever trained to be good listeners. We were never taught, never trained how to be good listeners. Let's face it, throughout all of our formal education, we were taught, for example, we were required to take reading classes. We were required to take writing classes. And we got to college, we were required to have at least one class in public speaking. And reading, writing, speaking, but I know of no institution, I know of none, challenge me if you will, that required of its students a course in listening. So as a result, we really had to kind of learn listening on our own. It's not a skill that we were just born with. We had to learn it on our own. And as a result, some of us had developed some poor listening skills, and others were more fortunate than us. But that's the bad news. The good news is the fact that we can now unlearn poor listening skills, poor listening habits, and now cultivate good or active listening skills. Active listening involves fully concentrating, understanding, and responding thoughtfully to others. It's not merely hearing words, but it's grasping the understanding and the underlying messages. By doing so, we foster collaboration and make informed decisions. I'll share some more insights with you about active listening um, shortly as we get down the road on this. Let me share with you a story that I found absolutely fascinating when I read it several years ago. It is a story of a prime example of leading by listening. Leading by listening. The story is told of former First Lady Barbara Bush. This story was in 1988. In 1988, she was out on the road campaigning for her husband, who was vice president, who at the time had become the GOP, or the Republicans' presidential candidate to be president, George H.W. Bush. She was asked to speak to or address a group of literary experts, a group of literacy experts, excuse me. Now, realizing that she lacked the expertise in that field, what she did not do, fortunately for our purposes, she did not lean to her own understanding because she did not know the field of literacy. Instead, what she did is she flipped the script. And what she did is she posed the question to her audience, to the group. She turned the microphone on them and she asked a very simple question. If you were married to the president and had the opportunity to really make a dent in the field of illiteracy, what one thing would you do? Well, you can imagine what that did to the group. These were the experts, and they were all too happy to advise Vice President, how do I say this? Second Lady Barbara Bush. What she did is she played into both their expertise and their passion. And she was able to come up with a body of information. And they were able to identify with her and be able to say, I advised the future future First Lady. There was a lesson that she learned. This approach not only engaged the experts to share their passion, but her silence by listening and by leading by listening, that approach provided her valuable insights. Later, reflecting on that experience in her own autobiography, Barbara Bush said, people would rather hear themselves talk than somebody else. Amen. People would rather hear themselves talk than somebody else. So when in doubt, be quiet, listen, and let others talk. They'll be happy to share, and you just might learn something. Did you catch that? She dropped some nuggets on us. Let me just try to break that out a little bit to you. She dropped two powerful nuggets on us in terms of listening. Number one, I've learned that, and it's because I'm a wordsmith, the same letters that make up the word listen are exactly the same letters that make up the word silent. The letters that make up the word listen are the exact same letters that make up the word silent. What I've learned in life is that we learn nothing by talking, but we learn everything by listening. And then Barbara Bush offered a powerful lesson for us as emerging leaders. When we talk, we immobilize ourselves. We empty ourselves of information. We shoot our best shot. We are immobile. But when we listen, the talker then immobilizes themselves, and we in turn mobilize ourselves. Let me say that again to you. When we talk, we learn nothing. We learn nothing by talking, but we learn everything by listening. When we talk, we immobilize ourselves. We empty ourselves. We shoot our best shots. We immobilize ourselves. But when we listen, the talker then immobilizes him or herself, and then we become mobilized in the process. Barbara Bush is a very good example of leaning not to our own understanding. However, let me share with you, let me be real transparent and share with you an instance when that did not work. And it did not work for me. As I reflect on my own journey in terms of learning how to lead by listening, I recall a time when I was a brand new entrepreneur. Just started off and had just landed a contract with a large IT company to publicize their new division. I said to myself, I'm finally getting a chance to show my expertise, to show what I've got, to show what I'm worth. And in that euphoria, I tried to do it all on my own. Well, I lost that contract in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. In my Dear John exiting interview, the client said to me, Tim, you needed help and you never asked for it. You know you needed help. We know you needed help and you wouldn't ask. Firing you is probably one of the best things that could happen for you as an early stage entrepreneur. Why? Because talent is not your problem. Talent is not your problem. That was a painful lesson, but it was a valuable lesson for me. I remember, to go back even further, when I was a freshman in college, at the end of that first semester being away in college, I remember my roommate saying to me, he said, Tim, you're a really good speaker, but you're a piss poor listener. When you become a better listener, you'll then become a better speaker. And every time I talk to my former roommate, Nat Hines, and Nat Hines Jr., I remind him of that counsel he gave me. Simple, but not easy to implement. It took me years to realize the fact that listening requires humility. And that lesson was learned by me, and I hope I am still learning it today. I can't say enough about that experience. Now, let me give you a right now, right this week example of what it means to collaborate in terms of teamwork and preparation. Because listening is a team sport. Leading by listening is a team sport. Earlier this week, all of us will remember U.S. Senator Cory Booker. Cory Booker and his record-breaking 25-hour, 4-minute speech on the Senate floor on Monday and Tuesday, March 31st and April 1st. Now, he was protesting certain Trump-Musk policies, so he took an extensive time on the floor and made his point and became and has become a more of a leader of his people, an emerging leader of his people. But that monumental feat of his was not accomplished in isolation. He was not a lone ranger in that process. In fact, his dedicated staff prepared some 1,164 pages of documented material, and they put them all into 15 different binders or notebooks for him to deliver that, to support his effort and deliver that speech. This kind of collaboration highlights the significance of a supportive team in accomplishing one's ambitious goals. Now, the Bible also gives some advice to emerging leaders about the profound wisdom in the matter of collaboration. In the Bible text, once again, the Old Testament of Ezekiel 4:2, it states, though one may be overpowered by another, one may be overpowered, and two can withstand him, but a 3-braided cord is not easily broken. One can stand alone and be overpowered. Two has a better chance of surviving, but a 3-braided cord is not easily broken. This metaphor emphasizes the strength found in partnerships and in collective and collaborative efforts. Now, the text that I read to you is from Ecclesiastes 4:12, and that was in the Bible. That's in the Old Testament. That was 3,000 years ago. Let me give you another right now example of collaboration, how it works. In today's digital age, however, resources such as ChatGPT, you've heard of ChatGPT, it can serve as an invaluable partner for you as you are an emerging leader and learning to lead by listening and not leading, for example. It is a wonderful tool for solo entrepreneurs and for emerging leaders. I had a mentor who told me this week, and it was funny, I needed to include this. He said, and I was thanking him for turning me on to ChatGPT. He said, man, he said, ChatGPT is the best woman I ever dated. ChatGPT is the best woman I ever dated. I love that quote. Such tools can assist us with tasks ranging from research to content creation, and ChatGPT can actually serve as an effective team member. Let me go a step further, as a 24/7, 366 team member. That's the power of ChatGPT. You owe it to yourself to get exposed to it. It has become a lifesaver for me as a solo entrepreneur and as one who's trying to learn to lead by listening. I listen to my ChatGPT. In conclusion, today I've got 3 Ten Commandments, 3 key takeaways for you for emerging leaders. Number 1, embrace collaboration. Embrace collaboration. The power of we is greater than the power of me, somebody once said. Recognize that seeking counsel and working with others leads to more robust and more effective leadership. Number 2, to go back again, practice active listening. Practice active listening. Engage fully with those around you, valuing their insights and fostering an environment of mutual respect. Now, several years ago, I read this book. This book is entitled Russell Rules, 11 Lessons of Leadership from the 20th century's greatest winner. It is a book about NBA Hall of Famer and my childhood idol, the Boston Celtic legend number 6, Bill Russell. He does a chapter in his book entitled Listening is Never Casual. Listening is never casual. And he poses what I call a 6-question listening test in that chapter that, in full transparency, I think I flunk that every time I take that test. Let me share it with you to see how you fare in that test. Number 1, he asked the question, do you have difficulty maintaining eye contact with people speaking because someone or something else has snatched away your attention? Do you have difficulty maintaining eye contact? One of the greatest forms of respect. It shows that you are listening. Number 2, do you find yourself trying to come up with a better story than the one the speaker is currently telling, only to miss his or her more salient points? Do you find yourself trying to come up with that next comment and miss many of the salient points that they're trying to make? Number 3, do you catch yourself nodding yes or saying mechanically just to keep the conversation going when you are not really listening? Or worse, do you interject trite and trivial questions into the dialogue to appear as if you are listening? Number 5, do you find that you forget what has been said within minutes following the conversation? And number 6, are you always interrupting others because you feel you have something more important to say? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you and I have a need to really brush up on our active listening skills. And finally, number 3, utilize available resources, whether it's building a team of persons or whether it's leveraging technology's tools such as ChatGPT. Make use of those resources at your disposal to enhance your journey as a leader, but more importantly, as an emerging leader. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I've inspired you. I hope I've encouraged you. I hope I've informed you. If you like what you've heard, please like, share, or subscribe to us. And if you'd like to contact me directly, and I'd love to hear from you, you can reach me email by info@timalston.com. And I leave you with the words, again, from Philip Brooks, the 18th century clergyman and author. He said, don't ask for an easier life. Ask to be a stronger person. Don't ask for task equal to your power. Instead, ask for power equal to your task. And then when the work is done, it will not be seen as a miracle. You will be the miracle. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. Look for us next Monday. Join us next Monday for the Tim Alston Show, and then next Thursday again for the 10 Commandments of Leadership. Thank you. And once again, if this information is becoming to you, then you should be coming to us. Thank you. God bless. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.